Like this video before you start watching, Theanya Matusevic was not born from ordinary warmth. She was born into silence, into cold, into a world where snow did not fall, it lived. From the very first moment she opened her eyes, white surrounded her. The sky was pale, the ground endless, and the air sharp enough to remind you that you were alive. While other children cried when winter came, Theanya smiled. Cold never frightened her. Snow never hurt her. It welcomed her. She lived far away from cities, deep in the frozen north, where roads disappeared under ice and voices were swallowed by wind. People avoided this land. They said nothing grew there. They said nothing survived there. But Theanya did. Her home was a small wooden shelter half buried in snow, built by her own hands over many years. Thick walls, narrow windows, and a roof shaped to let snow slide gently away. Inside, everything was simple: wood, fur, stone, and fire. Outside, everything was white. Every morning, she stepped barefoot onto the snow. The cold kissed her skin, but it never burned. She breathed deeply, letting the icy air fill her lungs, feeling more alive than she ever could in warmth. Snow was not an enemy to her. Snow was family. She knew the language of snowstorms, the warning whispers of wind, the quiet signs of falling temperatures. She could tell when a storm would come hours before the sky darkened. She could hear the ice shift beneath frozen lakes and knew when to stay away. Animals trusted her too. White foxes watched her from a distance. Snow hares froze in place as she passed, unafraid. Even wolves never came close with hunger in their eyes. They sensed something different about her. At night, Theanya sat near her fire, carving small figures from ice and wood. Shapes of mountains, birds, and human faces, faces that felt familiar though she had never met them. Sometimes she wondered if the snow remembered lives long forgotten and whispered them to her hands. Loneliness never crushed her. Silence never scared her. The world spoke softly here, and she listened. One evening, as the sky turned silver and the moon rose like a frozen lantern, a storm began to form. Clouds rolled in heavy and low. The wind sharpened. Snowflakes fell slowly at first, like feathers. Theanya smiled. She wrapped herself in her thick coat and stepped outside. The storm grew stronger with each step she took away from her shelter. Wind pulled at her hair, snow blurred her vision, and the world disappeared beyond a few steps. This was where she felt most at home. As the storm howled, she walked higher toward the mountains, guided by instinct rather than sight. Her heart beat calmly. Her breath stayed steady. Snow piled around her legs, but she moved as if the storm made way for her. Suddenly, she felt it. A deep vibration beneath the ground. The ice was shifting. A frozen lake ahead began to crack, thin lines racing across its surface like veins. Any ordinary person would run. Any ordinary person would panic. Theanya knelt. She placed her bare hand on the ice. The cold surged through her, but instead of pain, she felt connection. She listened. She understood. The lake was not breaking, it was releasing pressure, breathing after years of stillness. She whispered nothing. Words were unnecessary. The storm reached its peak. Snow erased the sky. Wind screamed like a living creature. And yet, in the center of it all, Theanya stood calm and unmoving. Then, slowly, the storm passed. When the clouds lifted, the world looked newly born. Snow covered everything in smooth perfection. The lake was whole again, stronger than before. The moon reflected off the ice like a mirror. Theanya stood alone in the silence. She realized then what she had always felt but never named. She did not live in the snow. She belonged to it. Time passed differently in the. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like this video, comment your thoughts, and